Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we dive into a story that's been making waves across South Africa's political landscape, a dramatic fallout between President Cyril Ramaphosa and Sancho Mchunu, a man who has now openly lashed out at the president, calling him unfit and unqualified to lead the nation. What began as an internal disciplinary matter has exploded into a heated political confrontation filled with accusations, resentment, and a growing sense of betrayal within the ruling establishment. Sancho Mchunu, once a prominent and outspoken figure within the ANC's administrative circles, has found himself at the center of controversy following his recent suspension. What has shocked many is not just his removal from his official position, but his bold and fiery reaction afterward. In a series of public statements and social media posts, Mchunu accused President Cyril Ramaphosa of being the architect of deceit within the ANC, alleging that the president himself has failed the very values and leadership principles that once defined the African National Congress. According to Mchunu, his suspension was not a matter of accountability or party discipline, but rather a politically motivated attempt to silence him. He described it as a calculated punishment, a message to anyone within the party who dares to challenge or criticize Ramaphosa's leadership. He went as far as saying that the president hides behind committees and commissions instead of confronting the deep structural problems in the ANC head-on. Now, let's unpack the roots of this conflict. Sancho Mchunu has long been seen as a controversial but fearless voice within ANC structures, especially at provincial level. He's known for criticizing corruption, factionalism, and poor governance, sometimes stepping on the toes of senior officials. Insiders claim that his suspension followed an ongoing internal probe linked to misconduct allegations, but Mchunu insists the accusations were fabricated to tarnish his name and weaken his influence. In his fiery statements, Mchunu accused President Ramaphosa of hypocrisy, pointing out that while Ramaphosa projected an image of integrity and reform, he himself has been surrounded by unresolved scandals, from the Fela Farm saga to issues of state capture and economic stagnation. How can a man under investigation for serious ethical breaches call others to account? Mchunu allegedly remarked, implying that the president's moral authority to discipline anyone in the ANC is deeply questionable. He further criticized Ramaphosa's leadership style, saying that the president has turned the ANC into a corporate club for elites, disconnected from the real struggles of ordinary South Africans. Mchunu accused him of surrounding himself with technocrats and business allies rather than people rooted in the movement's revolutionary history. In his words, "This is not the ANC of Oliver Tambo or Chris Hani anymore. This is Ramaphosa's ANC, a club for the rich, where loyalty is bought and truth is punished." The remarks have sparked mixed reactions across the country. Supporters of Mchunu say he's simply speaking the truth that many within the ANC are too afraid to say out loud, that the ruling party is losing touch with its grassroots members. Others, however, see his outburst as an act of desperation and bitterness, a last attempt to stay relevant after his suspension. But what makes this situation even more intense is that Mchunu and Ramaphosa were once considered political allies. According to reports, Mchunu supported Ramaphosa's rise to power within the ANC during the 2017 leadership race, believing that Ramaphosa would restore unity and integrity to the party. However, as years passed, Mchunu became increasingly frustrated with what he described as empty promises and soft leadership. He claimed that Ramaphosa's so-called New Dawn turned into a nightmare for millions of South Africans still living in poverty, joblessness, and insecurity. Mchunu's outburst also reignited discussions about Ramaphosa's broader leadership crisis. Many South Africans have grown weary of what they perceive as inaction and political paralysis from the president's administration. Despite promising to fight corruption, rebuild institutions, and create jobs, unemployment remains stubbornly high, service delivery continues to fail, and factional battles within the ANC have only deepened. Political analysts are now warning that this feud could further fracture the ANC, which is already struggling to maintain unity ahead of future elections. Some believe that Mchunu's attack reflects a larger sentiment among disgruntled members who feel sidelined by Ramaphosa's leadership approach. Others, however, argue that Mchunu is merely venting frustration because his personal ambitions were blocked. Still, his comments cannot be ignored. His words echo a growing dissatisfaction not just inside the ANC, but among ordinary citizens who feel betrayed by promises of renewal and accountability. As one analyst put, Mchunu may be suspended, but what he said reflects the whispers in the corridors of power that the president's grip on the party is weakening. If there's one thing clear, it's that this public fallout is a symptom of a much deeper issue, the ongoing identity crisis of the ANC. Once a liberation movement built on unity and shared purpose, it now seems torn apart by internal rivalries, corruption scandals, and ideological confusion. Mchunu's remarks might sound personal, but they tap into a collective frustration, a belief that the party has strayed too far from its roots, and that leadership today is more about self-preservation than serving the people. Meanwhile, President Ramaphosa has remained largely silent on Mchunu's remarks, choosing instead to maintain his usual calm and diplomatic posture. The presidency's office reportedly dismissed the insults as reckless and unfounded, emphasizing that disciplinary action within the ANC follows due process. But that statement has done little to calm the storm. If anything, it has made Mchunu's supporters more vocal, claiming that Ramaphosa's silence is proof that he cannot handle criticism. This entire controversy highlights a troubling trend in South African politics, one where internal battles overshadow the real issues facing citizens. As leaders continue to fight for dominance, the country continues to battle rising unemployment, collapsing infrastructure, and increasing public distrust in government. At the end of the day, whether you see Sancho Mchunu as a hero exposing the truth or as a bitter man fighting back after being suspended, one thing is undeniable. His words have reignited a crucial national debate about leadership, accountability, and the future of South Africa's democracy. So, what do you think about Sancho Mchunu's remarks? Was he right to call out President Ramaphosa, or did he cross the line? Do you believe the president is losing control over the ANC, or are these just the usual internal power plays that happen in politics? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this analysis, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more updates on South African politics, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next upload. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay aware, and stay engaged. See you next time.